Look, he's scared, OG. Crack his
Heavy-set Caucasian man speaking sternly to the victim off camera. He points outside, then drags the senior, pushes him out the door and onto the ground, where he hits his head on the pavement. All while police say the suspect was yelling Asian slurs and comments about COVID-19.
Ever since mass Chinese migration during the gold rush, anti-Asian sentiment has been apparent in the United States.
The current spate of racism against Asian Americans is a recurring pattern of American racism. Since Asian Americans have been in the U.S., whenever epidemic came from Asia, Asians in the U.S. were scapegoated for the disease, and then they were met with interpersonal violence and racist policy. For example, in the 1800s, there were these three diseases: malaria, smallpox, and cholera, and they were all blamed on Chinese, and they were used as the basis for the Chinese Exclusion Act.
The Chinese Exclusion Act was first signed into law in 1882. This act prevented any Chinese immigrants from legally becoming U.S. citizens.
Correlated to the use of disease as a way to create negative policies towards Asians, that was accompanied with the yellow peril stereotype. So the yellow peril stereotype is a fear that Asians will come with their diseases to dominate and threaten the West. And so that fear of the yellow peril has been resurrected every time an epidemic comes.
Even now, the highest person in power, President Donald Trump, has repeatedly used many derogatory terms towards the Asian community.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China. That's why.
Words matter. Calling it that presents physical harm to the Asian American community. Medical experts and health experts agree that the proper term is COVID-19 or a novel coronavirus. By using this term, it adds nothing to the scientific community, but causes harm to the Asian American community.
His language has stigmatized both the disease and Asians, because when he uses the term Chinese virus, it makes the virus Chinese, and it makes Chinese people have the virus. And people make that quick association between those two things. Once they make that association and they see it repeated on social media, it becomes part of their implicit bias. So they just automatically think coronavirus is Chinese. Or when they see Chinese people, they automatically think COVID-19. And then they go into flight or fight mode. So what happens is most of the cases occur in stores, because that's where Asians interact with people while we're shelter in place. What's happening is Asians get harassed, they get yelled at, and so they can't shop. They can't get safe access to goods and services. We knew that we needed to document the hate that Asians were experiencing just to hold government accountable. And so we created a website, Stop AAPI Hate, to collect incidents self-reported by Asians about what was happening. And when we launched in March, we were flooded with hundreds of incidents. We have a range of Asians reporting. 1 out of 9 are elderly. Then women are harassed 2.4 times more than men. It's a clear power dynamic where you have a bunch of people or older people harassing younger people.
So what can you do? You can help spread awareness through multimedia platforms and educate yourselves on the topic to avoid unwanted biases. Racism is an aspect of society that has been normalized and rationalized, a normal that should not be tolerated nor accepted. It also emphasizes the importance of being educated and being aware of the racial discrimination and xenophobia in our society.